A scientist searching for a cure for a deadly wire ended up creating a dangerous rain. Anyone who got wet from it would scream in pain and start dying. Within a few days, one by one, entire cities began to disappear from the map. This is the story of before it all began. A girl named Simone was rushing to class for her exam at a university in Denmark. Suddenly, her father, Frederick, arrived. Without any explanation, he grabbed Simone and put her in his car. Her younger brother, Rasmus, and their mother were already inside. Frederick was extremely panicked and started driving very fast without any explanation. He was taking them to a secret bunker in the woods, built by his company, Apollo. The weather was also getting worse quickly, and it looked like it would start raining at any moment. Because of Frederick's high speed, there was an accident with some cars ahead, completely blocking the road. People angrily started arguing with Frederick, but he didn't care. He immediately got his family out of the car and ran with them into the forest. Just as they arrived, the first drops of rain began to fall from the sky. Frederick quickly opened the bunker's lock with his fingerprint and they all went inside. Inside, Simone and Rasmus were shocked, wondering why their father had brought them here. The bunker had everything they needed: food and water for many years, and even its own air processing system. Simone was about to ask her father questions when Frederick put on a protective suit and prepared to go back out. He just said, "Until I return, no one leaves this bunker." Simone tried to stop him and wanted to know the truth. Then Frederick explained that the rain outside had spread a very dangerous virus. Anyone who came into contact with it would writhe in pain and die within seconds. Frederick was the only person who could find a cure for it, so he had to go to the company's headquarters immediately. As he left, he told Simone to take special care of Rasmus because, in the times to come, only he could change everything. Simone still didn't really understand, but Frederick left the bunker. A little while later, Simone opened the internet on her phone, and when she saw the news, she was horrified. There were scenes of death, destruction, and fear everywhere. People were collapsing in the streets, screaming and dying in agony from the rain. Simone, frightened, started talking to her brother. Then their mother spoke, saying they were safe for now, but no matter what happened, they must not go outside. They were just talking when suddenly someone started banging loudly on the bunker door. Rasmus thought maybe their dad had returned. His mother told him not to, but he didn't listen and opened the bunker door. As soon as the door opened, a man, soaked by the rain, fell inside. His skin was burning, and he started writhing in pain, trying to pull Rasmus outside. But then Rasmus's mother quickly pulled Rasmus back inside, and pushing the man, went out into the rain herself. As soon as she got wet, she also became infected and started writhing in pain. Even then, her biggest concern was for Simone and Rasmus. She told them to take care of each other. After that, Simone, crying, closed the door and went back inside, trying to call her father, Frederick, but her phone couldn't connect to his, which made her even more scared. At that moment, she remembered Frederick's words about acting normal in front of Rasmus. Holding onto that memory, Simone pulled herself together and started checking all the bunker's systems. She discovered there were many other bunkers like theirs in the city. Built by the Apollo company, Simone tried to contact those bunkers, but it was no use. Meanwhile, while looking through the supplies in the bunker, she found a radio. Using the radio, she contacted a man who was hiding in the basement of his house. The situation outside was extremely dangerous, and many people were being moved to a nearby hospital to save human lives. Simone gave the man Frederick's number and asked him to call, but despite his efforts, he couldn't reach Frederick either. Simone thought that maybe Frederick was also dead because surviving outside was almost impossible. Then, suddenly, the power went out across the whole city, breaking Simone's radio connection. Now, she was alone in the bunker, taking care of Rasmus. After a week passed, and Frederick still hadn't returned, Simone gathered the courage to plan going outside. At night, she put on a PPE kit and went to the bunker gate, but then she started having visions of her mother's death. Scared, she immediately went back inside. Rasmus also didn't want her to go outside because he understood the danger was too great. Slowly, a month passed. During this time, Simone had a hard time taking care of Rasmus, but she tried her best to be a good sister and care for her brother. At the same time, she kept learning about all the resources and systems in the bunker. During this time, she remembered that some time ago, Rasmus had caught a strange virus that no one knew about. At that time, Frederick had prepared an antidote himself and given it to Rasmus later. His company also learned about this virus and asked Frederick to submit a full report. Simone began to suspect that perhaps Frederick had created this virus himself. By now, about 6 years had passed. Simone had no information about Frederick. Rasmus had also grown up and wanted to go outside to look for food because their supplies in the bunker were running very low. Simone initially refused, but then thought it was necessary to go out and assess the danger herself. At night, when Rasmus was asleep, Simone decided to put on a PPE kit and go outside the bunker. As soon as she stepped out, she saw visions of her mother again, but this time, she controlled herself and moved forward. Outside, she saw that her mother's body was now just a skeleton. A deer was standing nearby, and seeing it, Simone moved forward. The road was filled with cars in bad condition, and the forest had grown all around. Simone didn't pay attention to these things and continued towards her goal. She reached the hospital where people were supposed to be kept safe. After calling out several times, she got no response. Then, when Simone went inside to look, the scene was one of complete devastation. Everything was in ruins, and human corpses were scattered all over the ground. Suddenly, a wolf appeared in front of her. Scared for her life, Simone hid in a nearby room. After a while, when everything was quiet outside, she slowly came out and returned to her bunker. Back there, Simone immediately told Rasmus everything. The situation outside was much worse than before. If they wanted to survive, they would have to leave this place and go to another bunker somewhere else in the city. Hearing this, Rasmus decided that the next day, he would go with Simone to find another bunker. They both prepared to leave the next day and went to sleep, but during the night something went wrong. The bunker's oxygen level started dropping rapidly, and neither of them realized it. Within moments, Simone fainted due to the lack of oxygen. Luckily, Rasmus heard the alarm sounds just in time. He immediately picked up Simone and quickly ran outside, closing the door behind them. Now, they were both outside without PPE kits, but surprisingly, they weren't feeling any discomfort. This clearly meant they could now survive outside without suits. But then, suddenly, some people held them at gunpoint. It turned out these were the same people who had seen Simone outside earlier. When she returned to the bunker, these people had cut off their oxygen supply to force them out and steal their supplies. The people held Simone and Rasmus at gunpoint and locked them in a room inside the bunker, then started searching for food and drink. But since Simone and Rasmus's rations were already almost gone, they found nothing. Their leader, Martin, got angry and was about to leave, locking Simone and Rasmus inside. If they remained locked in, they would certainly die. So, Simone wrote on a glass that she knew where to find a stock of food. After writing that, she intentionally broke the pad that had the map to the other bunkers. Now, Martin had no other choice. If he wanted rations, he had to take Simone and Rasmus with him, because only Simone knew the other bunkers' locations. Meanwhile, Martin looked at Simone and started remembering his past days when he was a soldier. Back then, he had received orders to stand guard on a bridge and not let anyone leave the city. To prevent the infection from spreading one day, while on duty, Martin saw a woman trying to cross under the bridge to the other side, carrying her child. Martin fired several warning shots into the air to stop her, but the woman didn't stop. She bravely left the city. At that time, Martin had shown her mercy and didn't shoot her. A little later, his comrades called him to a tent where all the soldiers were staying. There, Martin found out that the very woman he had let go was actually infected. After she left, many people in the tent had died from the infection. Hearing this, Martin was shattered. With the death of his last comrade, his patience also ran out. At that moment, he decided he would never trust anyone again, no matter the circumstances. For him, survival was now the most important rule. After remembering all this, Martin returned to the present and flatly refused to accept Simone's deal. But they had no food left, and without food, they wouldn't survive long. Thinking this, Martin finally had to agree to Simone's terms. He freed Simone and Rasmus and took them with him outside. After many years, when Simone and Rasmus stepped out of the bunker, the outside air and light brought a look of relief to their faces. Coming outside after so long was nothing short of a miracle for them. A little later, when they talked with Martin and his team, they learned that there was now such a shortage of food and water in the world that people were killing and eating other humans just to survive. Hearing this, Simone and Rasmus were horrified. Then, suddenly, another group appeared in the distance. Those people were using thermal sensor drones to find humans in the area so they could catch and kill them. Seeing this, Martin quickly covered everyone with aluminum foil so their body heat wouldn't show up on the drone camera. But there were two other survivors nearby. One of them, a girl, came running towards Simone and the others. Simone wanted to help the girl, but Martin refused outright. He said helping a stranger could be a risk for their whole team. But at that moment, a girl named B on his team supported Simone. Without thinking, both of them ran after the woman to save her. The woman, while running, slipped near a small river and fell down. Some people who were chasing her were about to kill her. But right at that moment, Martin arrived and, without delay, shot both those men because, no matter what, Martin never abandons his team. However, the woman had become infected from falling into the water. Seeing her condition, Martin was forced to shoot her too. For Simone, this was a shocking experience. Then she understood that while the ground was safe, contact with rain or stagnant water was still a huge danger. Even the slightest contact could infect them. After this incident, Simone led everyone towards another bunker, whose location she remembered. It would take them about a day to get there. Before nightfall, they decided to stop at a nearby house. Inside the house, they found some weapons, clothes, and a few other items from dead hunters. Also, there were some bottles of clean water left there. Seeing this, John gave the water to his sick companion, Leah. Seeing their mutual care brought a smile to Simone's face. At first, she just wanted to use their help to reach the next bunker, but now she felt that these people weren't bad. Slowly, Simone's mind became truly willing to help Martin and his team. The next morning, everyone set off again. On the way, Rasmus's foot suddenly went into a water-filled pothole. Seeing this, Martin immediately pulled out his gun and was about to shoot him, but then Simone stepped in front of him and stopped him. She quickly took off Rasmus's shoe and checked his sock. Surprisingly, it was completely dry. That meant Rasmus's shoe was waterproof, and he hadn't gotten any infection. Seeing this, Martin breathed a sigh of relief and lowered his gun. Then, they all continued their journey together and finally reached the other bunker. There, the door opened with Simone's fingerprint. Seeing the inside made everyone's faces light up. There were so many food supplies that they could live comfortably for years. Everyone celebrated with joy and ate until they were full. But Simone felt uneasy inside. She didn't trust Martin and his team. Who knew when they might kill her? When she talked to Martin directly about this, Martin explained that Simone had been inside a bunker for the last 6 years, so she didn't know about the outside world and how people were now. Martin was actually a good person, but the present time was such that trusting anyone wasn't easy anymore. Still, Simone ignored his warning and went inside the bunker. There, she saw a phone charging, with a photo of her and Rasmus from their childhood on it. This phone actually belonged to her father, Frederick, who had left the old bunker and come to this new one for some time. Simone immediately checked the phone with Rasmus. There, she found a video from Frederick in which he said he was going to a headquarters in Sweden to create a cure or antidote for this infection. An idea immediately popped into Simone's head. Her father might still be alive. So, she decided to go with Rasmus to that headquarters in Sweden. Simone told Martin about this, hoping he would help them, but Martin flatly refused. He said they were safe in the bunker. To reach the headquarters in Sweden, they would have to pass through the middle of the city, where who knew how many hunters were hiding. Martin thought it would be too risky. Martin also thought that Frederick's video was 6 years old, and he had probably died by now. If he had been successful in creating an antidote, Martin would have surely heard about it. But Simone ignored him, and, taking a few days' worth of rations, left the bunker with Rasmus. Bea also decided to follow them with John and Leah because she genuinely wanted to support Simone. Leah herself understood that it was only because of Simone that she had managed to reach this bunker safely. Besides, earlier, Martin and Patrick themselves were going to kill Leah, John, and Bea. Actually, at that time, the three of them didn't know Martin and Patrick and were just trapped together in a group. Martin and Patrick had captured them with the intention of robbing them, and Bea, to save her life, had told them about a hidden stash she had. There, they had food stored for quite a few days. Martin went with all 5 of them to that place. There, they all ate together and genuinely enjoyed each other's company. At night, Bea pleaded with Martin to provide them with protection. Martin agreed, and they had all been together since then. In the present, Simone and Rasmus didn't know that John, Leah, and Bea were following them. They reached the outskirts of the city. On the way, they saw a bus that was blocking the road ahead. Both were tired, so they rested in the bus for a while. But a little later, they saw the shadows of some people outside. Both were frozen in fear. Then it turned out it was Bea, John, and Leah. Simone was very happy to see them and told them they should stay safe in the bunker. But the 3 of them decided they wanted to stay with Simone. They reached a nearby safe spot and started eating. But then, a large number of hunters arrived. They had to leave immediately. While running, Simone got separated and reached a fence by the road. Missing persons posters were hanging on it. Seeing this made Simone feel very sad. On the other side of the fence, she saw a small child who was alone. The rain was about to start soon. What will happen to them now? Will they even manage to reach a safe place before the rain starts? If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel to enjoy more movie recaps of this type.